What's happening, everyone? Art at Patience Metal Fab, and today I want to give you a bit of an update on a project that a lot of you have been asking about, which is the Mark II Golf. Now, there's been a lot going on with this car behind the scenes, and a lot of things that aren't really camera friendly. In the last episode, which I'll throw down in the description, you saw Andrew working away on the wiring on this car, and really his last 3 to 4 weeks have basically been all on wiring work. You can see it's kind of splayed out through here, and a lot of it is already connected and loomed. The last time I came out here this morning, Gary was actually running some of the lights on this car, which is the first time that I've seen that. And that tells me that there is progress happening and we're actually really close to being able to start this thing up. Well, check it out. We've got lights back here. Gary, you got to feel like Frankenstein and seeing his monster come to life a little bit?
Well, there's power in the car and, you know, no smoke yet, so we're in good shape. It's just making sure that all the inputs and outputs are aligned in the actual race studio. So this is obviously the AIM PDU that we've got in here. There's a lot of programmability in this thing as far as the inputs and outputs go. For example, this is all our different inputs. You got a lot of different parameters that you can have, analog, digital. You can select from a whole bunch of different values based on those inputs. And then those inputs can be made to correlate to your power outputs. I mean, completely programmable in every way. So we can tailor this to do exactly what we need to do. And then, you know, you get into some of the fun stuff like being able to choose, you know, what kind of display variations you want on the dash.
Here you can see the AIM PDM display. It's going to have basically all of your information like a digital dash.
We're able to kind of blend the car where he wants to keep some of the original analog inputs, you know, from like his turn signal switches, and for instance he wants to run his high beam flash to pass on the stock but then have the full-time high beam programmed into the keypad. So the one icon we don't have in here yet is the actual high beam. So we've got ignition, we've got start, high beam, low beam, and flashers in here right now.
Really the coolest part about all of this is it's bringing a vintage car into the modern era. There's so many capabilities, 100-fold that it used to have that we can now do digitally. One of the cool things that Gary mentioned that I didn't even think about is the speedometer on this is going to be GPS controlled, so there's no mechanical speedo per se. The lights flashing are a major milestone, but it still feels like we're really far away from starting this car up, or am I wrong?
I mean, it's not as far as it looks. This afternoon, I'm going to spend some time going through the CAN protocol, make sure that the ECU master's ECU is speaking to the PDM on the CAN line, and then we will make sure the ECU is seeing all the sensors it needs to see and that everything's there. At that point, we'll know that wiring's good. We'll do some looming and some cleanup of the harness to make this thing kind of ready to work. And then we'll just reassemble everything. We'll get our tuner on the phone, Steve over at Divulge Motorsports out in Colorado, and he'll remote in and we'll get a base map in this thing and hopefully we can key this thing up and see what it sounds like.
He says hopefully, but I'm guaranteeing by the end of this video this car will start up. I don't care how long it takes because I want to hear it run. So they're going to get to work, I'm going to be filming, and hopefully we have a good finale to this one. Kind of at a less thrilling but really crucial moment with this Volkswagen because Gary's tied into a conference call with the tuner on this car. You can see some of the stuff on his laptop moving around, and really what they're trying to do is set this thing up for the first startup. It's always a bit of a question mark when you do a full custom wiring harness like this, and obviously all of the custom plumbing and piping and everything we did to put this car together. Now, hopefully, fingers crossed, the tuner checks out all the diagnostics and tells us that we're okay to start up. And then if all is good, we should see this car firing up for the first time ever in this form. Last night, DJ and Gary were working on this car, running it, just looking for any sort of leaks, coolant, oil, and then today we're using a really cool new device that Brian picked up when he was at SEMA. It's this little box from Ventus. Essentially, it's a vape.
It's a vape.
Can you turn it on and just show us?
It's kind of like a traditional smoker, except it does not boil your fluid like your traditional smokers do. This actually vaporizes it, so it's a lot easier to work with. It's better. It doesn't create all the nastiness that you get when you're burning it. And what we can do, we plug it right on in to the system. And now we're actually going to pressurize the system, make sure we have no leaks in it, make sure all the welds are good. We designed the intercooler and built that from scratch. A lot of shops, they'll just weld their stuff together and send it out without testing it. This is our way of making sure the customer has zero leaks and boost issues in the future. So right there, we had a burst of smoke come out of the back end of this thing. That shows that the system was pressurized. We don't have any bleed down anywhere, no pinholes, no leaks. So we're 100% good to go on this boosted system.
We are coming down to the wire on the Mark II. Our dyno session is bright and early tomorrow morning, and we are nearing the end of day. You can see some of the rear end stuff is torn apart. Andrew's fixing a small issue that he found, basically some rubbing. So he should have that done pretty soon. And then DJ is gonna work on cleaning out the interior and eventually getting the seat in here. So we don't have a whole lot of time to make this happen, especially because we need to take this thing out on a small test drive around our shop and then get it over the dyno bright and early tomorrow morning. This is really exciting. That's the maiden voyage of the Mark II, and I'm wishing Gary good luck. I have to head home, and tomorrow I'm gonna be up bright and early at the dyno, so assuming everything goes good on the shakedown tonight, we're gonna be strapping it down and seeing what kind of power it makes. And I think we're probably at the point in the episode where it's getting a little lengthy, so I'll save all of the dyno stuff for the next one. That gives you guys a little incentive to come back. So make sure you're subscribed to the page, like this video, share it around, and I'll see you in the next one.